So here are the ingredients I'm going to be using to make my oatmeal cake. So right here, I'm going to be using 1 cup of Quaker Oats oatmeal. I'm going to be using 1 cup of dark brown sugar, 1 cup of Domino granulated sugar. I'm going to be using 3/4 cups of this evaporated milk. I got 2 sticks of unsalted butter at room temperature. I'm also going to be using some baking powder. I have 2 eggs at room temperature. I'm going to be using some vanilla extract, some nutmeg. I'm going to be using, for my icing, I'm going to be using some orange juice, some cream cheese, and some raw honey. I'm also going to bake it in my 9-inch baking pan, and I'm going to use some Baker's Joy to make sure it doesn't stick. So again, here are the ingredients I'm going to be using for my homemade oatmeal cake with homemade icing. You're also going to need some flour and cinnamon. So let's get started with this oatmeal cake. So right here I have 1 stick of melted unsalted butter, and I have my 1 cup of oatmeal, and I'm just going to put that cup in here. And I'm also going to add 1 1/2 cups of boiling water. And we just want to stir this. And we're going to let this sit like for 20 minutes. And let's get started with our dry ingredients. So let's get with these dry ingredients. So right here I have 1 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. And on this plate I have a cup of brown sugar, 1 cup of white granulated sugar. I have 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I have a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And I'm just going to dump all that in there like that. Now I'm going to add 2 eggs. And the oatmeal that I had sitting for 20 minutes, I'm going to add the oatmeal. And today I will not be using my stand mixer. I took out the old school mixer, hand mixer, and I'm going to mix this until it's all incorporated. And always do not forget to write down the size, regardless if you're using a stand mixer or a hand mixer. You want to always write down your size. So we finished with this mix. So now I'm going to put this in my, now this is really not a 9x13, it's something like 8.9 pi, 12.8. I'm still gonna call it a 8x9, a 9x13. So I'm going to be making 2 toppings for this oatmeal cake. The first one is going to be a cream cheese icing with orange juice. So I'm going to add in a 1/2 cup of cream cheese. I'm also going to add in 3 tablespoons of orange juice. And I'm also going to add in 1 tablespoon of honey. So I'm finished with my icing. Now, to be honest, I had to add in like 4 tablespoons of powdered sugar because that honey in that cream cheese was just a little too twangy, so I had to add some sugar. Now I'm ready to show you how I'm going to make my other glaze for the cake. So let's get to the second glaze right here. I have 1/2 stick of unsalted butter. Right here, I'm going to add in 3/4 cups of evaporated milk. I'm going to add in 1 cup of brown sugar. And I'm just going to get this going, stir this up. And I'm just going to stir this until it get to a boil. And I'm going to add in like a teaspoon of vanilla extract. As you can see, I boiled it to a nice boil. I had to make sure all the sugar has melted. And now I'm going to turn my flame off and get my cake out there. Okay, my oatmeal cake is out the oven. It is really smelling good. I'm giving it the toothpick test to make sure it comes out clean, and it has. So it already cooled off for a little while. So now here is my evaporated milk and brown sugar and butter glaze I got for it. And I'm just going to like pour it all over the cake. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to spread it. Make sure it gets all over the cake. I'm actually going to put some holes in it so it can seep down in the cake. And now I'm going to place this in the oven on broil for 2 minutes to let this brown sugar glaze stick to the cake, and I'll be right back. So here we go. I just took it from the broiler. As you see, it's still bubbling, but I'm going to let this cool off about for 10 or 15 minutes before I drizzle some of this cream cheese icing on it. So here it goes. tradeMarc's homemade oatmeal cake. And it's healthy. I'll holler at y'all later on the next post. Have a groovy day.